listening to Cricket World Radio.
And this is Cricket World Around the World. Welcome to Cricket World Around the World. I'm John Pennington. I'm joined again by Jim White. Hello, Jim.
Hello, John.
It's been another busy week. We're going to look ahead to some cricket coming up and look back on some cricket that's already been played as well. And we've got some really interesting interviews for you as well on this week's show. Let's start off by having a look ahead to the England-Sri Lanka third and final test at the Rose Bowl. Jim, it's the first ever test match at the Rose Bowl and we're all very excited, as are the players.
Long awaited, JP. It's been sort of almost one man's mission, really. Rod Bransgo, the chairman, when the ground was built many, many years ago, outside of Southampton, it really was in a field, and they created a fantastic facility down there. And, you know, it really will be, for this reason, a historic test match. First, I think, south of London as well. I know the players are looking forward to it. It's a unique atmosphere. I've been there myself to some games. I was there for the Australia 2020, for example, and England won by 100 runs as a preview to the Ashes. And I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be an Australian on the pitch that day, I tell you. But it is unique. It's a great opportunity for all the fans of all the South Coast counties to get to watch international cricket. Hopefully the weather won't cause too much of a problem. I know there's been a delayed start for the game, which of course was kind of coming anyway. Might add a little bit of a green tinge to the track, which may not have been what people might have expected. But it's going to be a good game of cricket. Both sides have got something to play for, and you know, hopefully we'll see some good cricket all round and something for the supporters to follow.
You mentioned Rod Bransgrove there. There's a fascinating interview with him on the website, and you've actually managed to catch up with one of England's sort of more entertaining cricketers this week as well, Jim.
Yes, it's almost like the entertainer, isn't it, Graham Swan? He's sort of, I say he's all over the media in a nice way, in that he's such a charismatic person, and he says it how it is. He doesn't change off camera, on camera, in interviews, because, you know, no question, he's not too serious about things. I think having had this sort of 8-year layoff, wasn't it, between playing and this sort of comeback, he's just absolutely loving it and brings his personality to the game. And I think there's been a lot written about him more recently, about how, for example, you know, some of his successes are coming from the DRS system and all that lot. But, you know, it doesn't take away from him being a fantastic cricketer, and I think his approach to the game is something that's welcomed by everyone, because it's can be a bit of a long old slog sometimes. But yeah, good to hear from him, and he did speak to us during the course of our time down there.
Graham, back at the Rose Bowl a few days before this historic test match, how's everything going in your preparations?
Yeah, it's going very well. Obviously 1-0 up in the series is a very nice position to be in, because the rain was around for both games, and thankfully we managed to get a result at Cardiff, because otherwise it'd be 0-0 going into the last, and a must-win game. So it's nice to be 1-0 up, and we'll be looking to make it 2-0.
Change of fortunes in both games has sort of been lots of runs and then lots of wickets. It's a pretty evenly balanced series at the moment, but I'd suggest you probably have got the upper hand.
I think we have. I think if everything goes to plan and we get 5 days of sunshine, I'd back us to win the game. So hopefully that's what we'll get down here on the south coast. It's one of the reasons we're down here on shore, to get a nice bit of southern weather. So fingers crossed it'll stay sunny, because then the wicket might turn as well.
Previous games here before?
Played a lot of one-day cricket recently, and they've been good wickets, good cricket wickets, and we've had a good record here, importantly. So I'm just looking forward to it. I've no idea how the test pitch is going to play. I'm not expecting a great deal of spin early on, but hopefully it'll break up as the game goes on.
Okay, well, last time we spoke with you were looking ahead to scoring 100 with a bat made from a tree planted not too far from Leicestershire, or from Lincolnshire way. Still aspirations to score that 100?
Without a doubt, yeah. I should have done it by now. It's a sense of annoyance that I've not. So maybe the Rose Bowl's the place to do it. I don't know. It was a good wicket. Hopefully I'll get a chance, but I've not had a chance to bat very much in this series, and the one I did have, I threw it away. So I was still desperate to get 100, and I'm sure it's going to happen at some stage.
England are in a good position at the moment, really, with where they are and the team going forward. There's another, obviously, series to come against India after this one, but it's important not to look too far ahead and make sure this game you get a victory under your belt.
Oh yeah, I mean we want to be number one in the world, and the only way to do that is by winning series and winning test matches. So we can't afford to not win this game. We deserve to win this series, and I think if we get 5 days of decent weather, we will win this series. So we're not looking to the Indian series yet. And, you know, that will come in 3 or 4 weeks' time when they get here. As far as we're concerned, we have to win this Sri Lanka series first.
You backed up well by your fielders. They're looking in sharp order now, taking all their catches.
Yeah, I mean, we've fielded well all winter, so that's something we're going to look to carry on doing. Just dropped my glasses there. That's what that bang was. But we'll look to do the same dropping something when I'm talking about fielding. That's not ideal, is it? But never mind.
Timing's crucial.
Yeah, we'll look to carry on fielding. We work very hard on that aspect of the game, so we'll look to keep that going.
So Swanee in fantastic form once again. As I say, keeping us all entertained.
There's a whole series of interviews with him as well on the website. So talking about Nottinghamshire, talking about darts, Formula One. I mean, you name a subject, he's generally got an opinion. We really do. We love him in the media because he's always got a quote. It's always great content as well. And also forming part of the bowling attack back in the side is James Anderson. Now, I caught up with him a little time ago, and we actually started off by talking about how well Lancashire have been going this season. Jimmy, great to have you with us today. You're at Old Trafford at the moment. I'm sure you've been keeping up to date with how Lancashire have been getting on this season. How pleased are you with how they've been going?
It's been great to see. Obviously started off well in the Championship and then continued that good form into the 2020 competition, which has been great to see, yeah. And
as you say, the 2020 form looking especially good. Have you been helping the team out at all, passing on any tips?
Not really, no. It's quite difficult when I'm away a lot with England and stuff, so they've got their plans in place and they've been working very well for them.
And as you say, the team going well in the Championship must be a real boost for the region with the various sorts of sports going on there, and a real good buzz with the lads as well.
Yeah, it is. We've got a really strong squad this year, and there's been a few injuries, but the guys that have come in have done really well, and it's meant that we're at the top towards the right end of the Championship at this stage of the season. And
also, I've noted quite a few young players coming through. That must be really pleasing for the club as well.
Yeah, it is. It's something the club's always prided itself on, is bringing youngsters through, and this year there's a couple of guys that have made good progress in the first team, and hopefully they can kick on in the next few years.
Okay, if I can just move on to, obviously you've been busy playing for England, but you missed the Lord's Test through injury. I imagine that must have been absolutely gutting for you. How's the recovery going, and do you think you're going to be fit for the Rose Bowl?
Yeah, it was a very minor injury. So I've been bowling since, during that last test I was bowling in Old Trafford. And it feels fine, so I've not really got any worries at the moment. I'll be fit for next week.
And what did you make of England's performance at Lord's? Would it be fair to say the bowling unit was a bit below their best to start with, but they showed improvement as the test went on?
Yeah, well, I think over the last couple of years, our standards have been so high as a bowling unit. I think we were slightly off, maybe, but at the same time, it's probably one bad game we've had in. I don't know how many we've been. I think the bowling unit's been absolutely fantastic over the last couple of years. So one bad game isn't going to make the bowling attack an average one, just like that. So it's something that the guys will be working hard at the Rose Bowl to put right.
Well, as you say, on to the Rose Bowl now. It's a brand new test venue. How much experience do you have of playing there, and what do you think we can maybe expect from the pitch and the game?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I think the county wickets there this year have been pretty flat, so I think we're going to find ourselves with another good pitch. But I think, I've played one-day internationals there. It's always been a good atmosphere, so hopefully a lot of people come down and support us, and we'll get a good atmosphere for it as well.
And the boys confident of wrapping up the series?
That's what we'll be trying to do, I mean, going on from Lord's, it was a relatively solid draw, and hopefully we, depending on the conditions at the Rose Bowl, hopefully we can either seal a draw or win there to get the series.
And from there, of course, we move into sort of the one-dayers and 2020s against Sri Lanka. But after that, of course, we've got India coming. It's going to be a huge series. Are you looking forward to that already, bowling to Tendulkar?
It's not really something we're thinking about at the minute. We've got a series with Sri Lanka at the moment that we're putting all our thoughts and efforts into. And then once that India series comes closer, then we'll start thinking about them a little bit more.
Okay, just want to finish off with a couple of quick questions, Jimmy. What's your most sort of memorable game you've ever been involved in, would you say, at any level?
Probably the Melbourne and Sydney Ashes tests, probably the two most memorable.
And if you had to sort of pick out one or maybe two best bowling performances you've ever performed, what would you pick?
I'd say Cape Town 2003 World Cup, got 4 for 20 odd against Pakistan, and I think it was last year against Pakistan in the Test series. I got 7 for the best figures in sorry, I got mixed up 11 wickets in the game, which is best match figures. So
brilliant.
Probably the most fun.
Some performance indeed. Jimmy, thanks ever so much for joining us. We really appreciate you taking time out. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers. Yeah, James Anderson, they're not really sure what to expect from the pitch, but again, and you caught up with him as well a little bit later on in the week, and he was really glad to be back fit and firing, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, and I think, there's an issue there with when players are injured. How injured are they? Because Jimmy, could he have played in the last test? How fit do you need to be? How cautious are the medical team being in keeping him fit for this series, the Indian series? It's a little bit of give and take there. I know he would have liked to have played, that's for sure. Very frustrated at missing out. Not playing international cricket, I think, is where he shines. Sometimes it takes a better player to get a nick to his bowling. But yeah, no, he's pleased to be out there, stretch his legs, and looking forward to great things from him in this match.
Yes, for me, I think the fact that England are prepared to say, right, you go away, you get fit, you get 100% fit, just demonstrates the sort of strength and depth they've got, because they know they can call on Stephen Finn, Jay Dernbach, Graham Onions, Ajmal Shahzad, so they can say, look, we're not going to pick you until you're 100% fit. That's just my personal take on it. I think that shows how strong England are going at the moment. So
yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. It's a lot of players, although if you ask players, particularly county cricket, where it's their career, they will play through injury. They're probably only 20% of the time they ever play without an injury. Now, that's what I'm saying. At what level do you say, I'm too injured to play, and I'm not going to play, or I'm making myself unavailable? Someone does a scan and says, oh, look, it says here you're 10% unfit. Well, so what? If you're fit enough to bowl, then play. What's the risk of it making it worse? Well, that's cricket. You've just got to go, I think, with your natural instincts. There's lots of training around cricket these days. Been talking to sort of a few other people involved in international cricket, and some of their take on it be, well, how fit do you need to be? One of whom we spoke to a while back may remember, Colin Croft used to go for a 5-mile run before playing cricket, because if you didn't have the miles in your legs, you can't bowl. In which case, none of this, but I'm in the gym. Well, that's not training. You need to be running. Bowlers have to be running, get the miles in the legs, and I think there may be less injuries if that was the case more often.
You mentioned,
and that's my personal opinion.
You mentioned county cricket there, Jim. We've heard from Jimmy Anderson that is very happy with the way Lancashire are going at the moment. We've seen some staggering performances. We've seen a century from Marcus Trescothick, one from Azam Mahmood, hat-trick from Wahab Riaz. You're off to some 2020 between Nottinghamshire and Durham. It's really exciting times for county cricket in this country at the moment. The weather is just about holding off enough, as we've had a few abandons. You're always going to get that, though. Yeah,
it's funny, isn't it? As you mentioned, there's Notts v Derby to watch 2020 cricket whilst England are playing at the Rose Bowl. Not really sure it's ever been sorted out as to where the focus of some games are. I appreciate it's a lot of cricket, probably too much cricket. And as a result, there's a lot of games being squashed into the same time frame, which means that not everybody gets to see maybe the best cricket, but it'll be fun. I think 2020 is a bit mad. You mentioned 2 Centurions already off 57 and 61 balls respectively, something.
That was on the same night as well.
I know, it was obviously the night. Maybe it was a full moon or something, or a eclipse. So that was last.
Well, it was lunar eclipse, wasn't it? So almost
like that. Yeah, there's obviously something in the stars out there. But no, it's great fun. I think the format of the game, it does give people an opportunity to just open their shoulders and play without fear. And if that's going to help them play in county cricket and to perform better, then all the good, really. It's there've been some other performances more recently. That you mentioned. Warwickshire, Chris Wokes having runs and wickets. So there's a lot of players out there who are pushing the England places, and at the moment their place to shine is 2020. County cricket, yes, they'll have an opportunity to show what they can do, the longer version of the game, and to get back in the international sides.
It's going to be very interesting when England name that one-day international T20 squad a little bit later this month to see how many of those cricketers who are impressing in 2020 actually make it through. Now, a
few players that you've got your eye on to come in?
I think James Taylor's almost nailed on to get in, as my hunch James Hildreth, he scored a few more runs as well recently, 60 odd in 20 balls. I mean, he's England Lions captain, so I'd love to see him as a Somerset player. Well, indeed. I just want to, yes, we talked about one-day internationals there, and you sort of talked about series being compacted not through design. We've had a series just finish very recently that started back in December, which was, of course, the Rose Bowl series between Australia women and New Zealand women. Australia eventually winning 4-2, so just the other end of the scale, if you like. And of course, that series very interrupted by the earthquake in Christchurch. But and of course, those two sides now are going to be over here in England. They're playing quadrangular series with India, so women's cricket as well is going to be something we're going to be featuring prominently as well. So it's all go, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I was just thinking only earlier that that's 2 Rose Bowls. All we want is a bit of cricket at the Rose Bowl in America, and you've got this Rose Bowl World Triangular Series. Watch this space. That might be the first year of it. You never know. You never know.
One day Australia and New Zealand might be competing for the Rose Bowl at the Rose Bowl.
There's a future here, JP. We've started something. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, great to see the women are playing again back over in the UK. I know that I was actually speaking with Isa Guha just the other day. Absolutely disappointed to be out of the squads because she's worked really hard over the winter to get herself fit. You mentioned 100% fit. This is where international cricket is now. The game's getting bigger and bigger. There's much more profile for women's cricket. And it's an opportunity for the English women, of course, who had a bit of a dip in form since the heights of being world champions, 2020 champions, and the Ashes. Bit of rebuilding, new names coming in. Great to see those players getting a chance. Danielle White, of course, who we've spoken to previously, is doing fantastically well, I think, coming in there. And it does, make for an exciting time for women's cricket, because it's a game that is, it's a summer in England, so all counties are playing a lot of cricket, a lot of women's cricket, a lot of summer coaching courses. So there'll be a lot of cricket being played there that will allow more people to get into the game. And also some games, I think there's Wormsley, of course, are hosting.
That's right.
Ladies' Day, which would be great for people to go and watch, where it'll be England versus either New Zealand or Australia.
And just to finish this part of the show, Jim, a thought or two on the West Indies-India series. We saw India race into a 3-0 lead with some excellent performances, shuffled their squad a bit for the final game. West Indies brought players back in. They won the 4th game by 103 runs. Are the West Indies beginning to regenerate? Is maybe not quite the right word, but the shoots of recovery, are they there? Adrian Bharat is back, of course.
Yeah, the West Indies tend to start a series with a handbrake on, don't they? They get it in first gear, they start moving forwards, but they just can't go up through the gears. India then take the handbrake off for them by winning the series, and therefore maybe taking their foot off the gas. There's some horrible examples I'm giving here, but the point is that it's not the first time the West Indies have either been out of a series or have waited in whatever the format of the game is, be it test or one day, is to then find their feet. Maybe it's the personnel, maybe it's the fact they're getting used to playing in that format of cricket, and they do come strong again, and they've now got the momentum. You just mentioned they won the 4th international there, so if they can win the 5th, 2-3 series loss isn't as bad as 4-0.
No, and for me, they're getting back towards their strongest side, because Ravi Rampal and Kemar Roach are in the squad for the 5th ODI together. Adrian Bharat, brilliant talent at the top of the order, and remember they've got Jerome Taylor and Fidel Edwards still to come back. So when they get it together,
Ravi Rampal's an interesting one, because he's been sort of brought in, dropped, brought in again, and
was rested. They're managing the workload of their fast bowlers.
Word it how you like, JP. But I know
okay.
He wasn't playing. Thank you. He wasn't playing. But when he does play, he seems to me to be someone that is really in control of what he does. Underrated, possibly. I think he should be playing all the time. I think he holds the seam up really nicely, and he asks questions of the batsman that really you want to be asked all the time. If you were to try and put him towards somebody, he's a bit like Glenn McGrath in that he's pretty consistent, holds the team up straight, and that's sort of bowler you want, that's just going to put it on the spot. The other guys are a bit more wayward, and whilst they can be brilliant, they also bowl too many 4 balls, and of course to the Indian batsman that's just fodder.
Good stuff. Thanks so much, Jim. Time for us to move on now. We're going to finish off this week's show with the latest from the ICC.
Hello and welcome to ICC Cricket World with me, Jatin Sapru. Exciting stuff lined up for you in the next 15 minutes. First, let's check out what's on the show today. We chat with India's leading pacer Zahir Khan, where he talks about exercising ghosts of the previous editions of the World Cup and winning back the Holy Grail, and lots more. Also talking to us will be another member of India's World Cup winning squad, Skipper Dhoni's apparent lucky charm, the mercurial Santakumaran Srisanth. Also on the show today is an exclusive chat with Ian Chappell, who navigates us to Australia's road ahead after finally losing their World Champions title. But first up, it's Gautam Bhimani bringing us the latest happenings in the world of cricket. Here's presenting our news segment.
Pakistan Prime Minister Yusuf Raza Gilani has said that the ICC Cricket World Cup 2011 semi-final clash between India and Pakistan has acted as a catalyst for improving ties between the two nations. Indian Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had invited his Pakistani counterpart to witness the highly anticipated match in Mohali, which India won by 29 runs. In a reception recently held by Gilani to honour the Pakistan cricket team, he said that it was not a question of winning or losing as much as it was to win the hearts of the people across the border. Praising the Pakistan cricket team's performance in the World Cup, Gilani announced a sum of ₹1 million for each player of the team and 5 lakhs for each of the management staff. Meanwhile, as per an order issued by Sri Lanka's Sports Minister Mahinadananda Althugamage, all Lankan players participating in the IPL have been called back home to train for their upcoming tour of England. Althugamage wants Kumar Sangakkara, Mahela Jayawardene, Lashit Malinga and others to put country over the lucrative IPL. He also added that in future, Sri Lankan players can only participate in foreign tournaments if it does not hamper their commitments to the national team. The tour, which starts on the 14th of May with a game against Middlesex, comprises of 3 test matches, 5 ODIs and a one-off 2020 international. The Islanders are also scheduled to play a one-off ODI each against Ireland and Scotland just a day after their final ODI against England on the 9th of July. And finally, just days after Bangladesh failed to make it to the quarter-finals of the ICC Cricket World Cup, the Bangladesh Cricket Board has decided to part ways with national coach Jamie Siddons. In an official statement, the BCB stated that Siddons' contract, which expires on the 30th of June, will not be renewed. The board also said that the team had done really well in the past 4 years under Siddons, but it was time to bring in some new support staff.
So after a successful stint by Jamie Siddons, it's time for the Bangladesh Cricket Board to find a new ringmaster. But there is someone who's mastered the trade of fast bowling and making batsmen dance to his tunes, Zahir Khan, who played a crucial role in India's World Cup winning campaign. Here is he in a conversation with Sai Prasad Mohapatra, talking of exercising the ghosts of the previous editions of the World Cup.
Zach, what would you call it? A poetic justice that the shadow of 2003 World Cup is not going to chase you any longer?
Well, I'm glad that I had that opportunity to change things, but I by no means regret the fact that the 2003 didn't go my way in the finals. But it was a great learning experience. I was much more well prepared for the finals in 2011. I felt very proud when a lot of my teammates and the support staff came up to me and say that Zach, the first 3 men's you bowled, that really tightened the screw as far as Sri Lanka's defeat is concerned, and that's for me is really satisfying as a leading bowler.
What would be that interaction or an instance that has top of the mind recall value that you will never forget that moment with Gary?
Well, I won't hesitate to say this, that Gary is the only coach who has understood me well. He has given me freedom to express myself. He's understood the kind of space I like to get into, and I like to do certain things differently, and he's kind of given me freedom to achieve that.
It's also a culmination of a lot of hard work when you get to the point where you wanted to. There are a lot of people who have attributed their success to a lot of people in their life. Is there anyone special in your life that you would like to attribute?
Well, my parents, I think they've sacrificed enough in their lives. It's been amazing. How they've kind of supported me in all the decisions I've made, and that includes all the unorthodox ways also I have to go about my life.
Can you say for sure that you were in absolute control of things, that Zahir Khan is maturing, is basically blossoming to the fullest?
Well, I think I gained momentum at the right time. Like before the World Cup, if you look at 6 months prior to the World Cup, I was a bit concerned. My body was not responding the way it should be responding. I was not able to gain that momentum. Leading up to the World Cup. But in time, things fell into place. South Africa, I really needed to play a full series, which I played in South Africa. Just missed one test match. That's what was required for me. And once I played that, I knew that I got what I wanted. I just need to build on this.
If I have to ask you, of all the 21 wickets that you took, which one would you put right on the top in the context of that particular match?
One was definitely Strauss. It was a game-changing moment there, and I bowled a perfect Yorker there. I was very thrilled with that. The second, I would say Mike Hussey, because on that particular day, Ricky Ponting was playing really well. It was really important from the bowling unit to break that partnership, when Hussey came on to bat.
Almost all the eligible bachelor in the team, it was a cut-off date, World Cup, for them to, after that, post which perhaps they were thinking to settle down. That also includes you. So, which way it is headed?
As I said, I'm basking in the glory of the World Cup right now. We are the champions. Just enjoying that. Haven't really thought about a lot of things, and as far as the cut-off date or anything that sort concerned, I've never really given it a thought. I'm enjoying my cricket. There are too many responsibilities on me, and let's see how things pan out.
And if you're wondering what could be the reason behind the new swanky haircut and the golden streak, rumour mills are rife that perhaps the wedding bells could soon be ringing for Zach. And who could perhaps be dancing on his wedding? Someone who's mastered the art of breakdance could perhaps well be in that ceremony, but for the moment he's happy breaking backs of the opposition with the ball. Sreesanth here in a conversation with Swaroop Kar.
Yeah, Sri, what was your first reaction after Dhoni hit that winning six?
We actually, the moment he hit the middle of the bat, we knew it's a six, and nothing like winning a World Cup through six, and Dhoni Bhai is known for hitting sixes, and we were all excited, and we just ran to the field. I was not even wearing my shoes. I remember going to the podium to get the gold medal without my chapala or shoes.
And Sachin broke into tears. How was it to see him in tears?
We were all in tears.
Yes, obviously.
To see Sachin Paji, it is a happy tears and emotional, and it was a big thing for us. We wanted that cup for the last 3 years, and in fact from 2007 we were saying we should win it, and every meeting we had, it was more like when we play the finals in Wankhede Stadium. So everybody knew what we were supposed to do, and we were very emotional, yes, but seeing that happiness in Sachin Paji, and knowing him very personally and as a team member, and that is the only thing which he has never had in his belt. But now nobody in the world can say he's not the best cricketer. In fact, the way I call him is Master of the Universe, Jedi. So I think Jedi has no comparison. So, and he decides what to do. So cricket is equal to Sachin, I think, or Sachin is equal to cricket.
So a long gap of 28 years has come to an end, and India finally once again are the world champions. The title, which for the last 3 editions of the World Cup had been attached with the mighty Australians. But now when it's apparent that the Australian domination has come to an end, let's speak to someone who knows a thing or two about the country, former captain Ian Chappell, talking to us about the road ahead. Chappelli, thank you so much for joining us here on ICC Cricket World. It appears to be that Ricky Ponting finally heard what you had to say about him giving up captaincy and Michael Clarke taking over the rebuilding phase. Do you reckon the first few steps taken in Australia's resurrection have been in the correct direction?
Well, when you've got basically a new team, or you're heading in that direction, there's no point in having an old captain. You've got to have a new captain to go with it. And I think Michael Clarke was the right bloke to take over. He's made a good start, but it's not how you start as a captain. It's how you progress. And I think Michael Clarke has an opportunity to be a good captain.
Chappelli, would you say that the kind of role now Ricky Ponting should play is the one that Mahela Jayawardene played with Kumar Sangakkara with the Sri Lanka team, with all the captaincy experience that he's got? He should try and pass on the tricks of the trade to Michael Clarke and make sure that before he retires, Clarke knows just all the tricks about the trade.
No, I don't think that at all. I think in fact exactly the opposite. It's Michael Clarke's job now, and he should do it his own way. There's not much point in having Ricky Ponting resign as a captain and then be advising Michael Clarke. I mean, if Michael Clarke wants to know something from Ricky Ponting, he asks him. But pointless having the captain resign, and then you just get more of his style of captaincy if he's dictating the terms.
Chopelli, it's been a while in Australia after a captain giving up captaincy, playing under another captain. What kind of a character does it talk about of Ricky Ponting?
Well, I mean, he's made the decision, so obviously he's happy with it. Now, he's obviously going to have to test the water. He may find that just being a player, after having all the responsibility of being captain, he might find that a bit dull and boring, and it could be that his interest in going on as a player wanes pretty quickly. But he may go the other way. He may enjoy doing it, just being a player and being a lot more relaxed without the responsibility. But he'll know pretty quickly which way it's going. He won't be able to tell after playing against Bangladesh because it wasn't a very testing series. But you've got Sri Lanka in Sri Lanka, and then you've got South Africa coming up, and those two series will be really strong tests. And I think by the end of perhaps the South African series, Ricky Ponting will know if if there's still enough incentive there for him to go on as a player. But he'll know pretty quickly.
Thank you, Chopelli, for joining us here on ICC Cricket World. Moving ahead, it's time to find out what's been happening on the rankings chart. Here's Kavya Nath with all the latest from the Reliance ICC Test Rankings.
In the Reliance ICC Test Championship rankings for batsmen, two legends of the modern game, Sachin Tendulkar and Jacques Kallis, share the top honours with 883 rating points each. Sri Lanka's Kumar Sangakkara is just 1 point behind the Giants and could well be placed on top of the charts when Sri Lanka tour England early next month. With 826 ratings points, England's Jonathan Trott is on 4th spot, followed by teammate Alistair Cook on 5th. The Nawab of Najafgarh Virendra Sehwag is at number 6 with 719 rating points, while Mahela Jayawardene, Shivnarayan Chandrapal, VVS Lakshman and Thilan Samarveera hold the 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th spots respectively. Bangladesh's Tamim Iqbal is at 19th place, is the lone player for his country to feature in the top 20 rankings. Meanwhile, South African speedster Dale Steyn rules the roost in the Reliance ICC Test Championship rankings for bowlers. England spinner Graham Swan and pacer James Anderson are at 2nd and 3rd spots respectively. Morne Morkel is placed 4th in the rankings, while India's Zaheer Khan sits pretty at 5th place. Australia's left-arm fast bowler Mitchell Johnson occupies the 6th spot. India's go-to spinner Harbhajan Singh is stable on 7th place, while Bangladesh's Shakib Al Hasan is close behind at 8th. Former New Zealand skipper Daniel Vittori and England's Stuart Broad own the 9th and 10th spot respectively. In the Reliance Test Championship, India is sitting at the peak with 128 ratings points, while South Africa are second with 117 points. England are just 2 points adrift of the Proteas and are placed third. Meanwhile, 6 points separate England from Sri Lanka, who are currently at 4th place. One-time world dominators Australia are languishing at number 5, while Pakistan are placed 6th on the table. West Indies and New Zealand are on 7th and 8th respectively.
Well, with that, we've come to the end of what's been an exciting 15 minutes of ICC Cricket World. Just a quick update, the next show will bring you more from the Pepsi World Cricket League Division 2, where at the moment, it's the United Arab Emirates who've almost cemented their berth in the final. You can catch all the updates of the tournament on icc-cricket.com. With that, it's time for me, Jatin Sapru, to bid you goodbye with a promise. We'll see you again next week with 15 more exciting minutes of cricket on ICC Cricket World. Until then, it's goodbye.